This is a Shock podcast.
Shock. Hello, everyone. Can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to the season 2 premiere of The Art of Beauty. What? This season, we're doing a little revamp of the show. Last season, we were very research-based, knowledge-based, talking about the ins and outs of the beauty industry, you know what I'm saying? But this season, we're going to be taking it back to what I love about the beauty sphere the most. Talking about my favorite products and products that I've tried along the way. Guys, I'm not going to lie, I've probably slowed down on buying stuff for the past couple of months, only because I realized that I bought a lot. During lockdown especially, doing my makeup and skincare was a huge part of my routine, just so that I had something to look forward to in the day and just not lose my brain. In a way, it was my place of solace. So, because I've done the trying and testing out, I'm here to give you my recommendations of what's the best of the best, so that you don't have to go out and do that yourselves. Look at it this way. I'm trying to prevent you from wasting your time and money. So, without further ado, this week, we're going to be talking about my top 10 foundations and skin tints. Just a quick reminder as well that everybody has difference in taste. Whatever works for you, and whatever's worked for me, works for me. By the way, these are in no particular order. I go through periods of using one or the other, but these are just the ones that I always keep coming back to. Firstly, the Fenty Beauty Eaze Drop. Yes, I have raved about this product time and time again, but there's a reason for it. It's so good. At the moment, this is my go-to, and I use it for daytime and nighttime, no matter what the occasion is. On the website, it says that it's a blurring skin tint, and I'm not sure about whether it's blurring per se, but I'll say that the finish is as close to skin-like as you're gonna get. I have an oily combination type skin, and it holds up ridiculously well even without using powder over it. If you're super oily, I'd recommend going in with a powder to set it, but if you don't mind looking dewy as your day goes on, then I would honestly just leave it. Personally, that's what I do, and I find that it doesn't break up on my skin or look like it's melting off my face. This is a straight 10 out of 10 for me, and I can't stop talking about it. I honestly recommend it to everyone to try it out. Number 2. The Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. I have a few other high-end recommendations coming up, and obviously, I gotta give it to Pat McGrath as well. When I was first introduced to this foundation, I was entering a stage where I was wearing a lot less makeup, so I was looking for a foundation that didn't feel like a foundation. Does that make sense? This one felt so lightweight on the face, and for me, a lot goes a long way. It's super buildable with regards to coverage, and the finish is on the natural side. Not too matte and not too dewy, but somewhere in between. If you're looking for a dupe though, because I know that Pat McGrath isn't the most affordable foundation or brand, I've heard that the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation is the one for you. But if you're looking to venture into the Pat McGrath world and see what the hype is all about, I would absolutely go for this one. Number 3. The Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This one is such a throwback, and I still rave about it to this day. This was probably the first foundation I had ever used, and no, it's not the first foundation I ever bought. You know how, like, back in the day, you can go to a makeup counter and ask for, like, a whole makeup look? Not sure if it's a thing now because of COVID and that, but when I was about 17 years old, I went to a very bougie Giorgio Armani makeup counter, and the Luminous Silk Foundation was the one that was used for my base. Just like the name implies, it's on the luminous side for sure, and it has medium coverage. I remember that it covered my acne at the time really well, and I felt like it lasted amazingly throughout the entire day. Unfortunately, I haven't used it recently, but it absolutely doesn't mean that I've forgotten about it. I have a friend who has used it for the past 10 years, and she refuses to use anything else because she thinks it's perfect. Again, a drugstore dupe for this one is apparently the L'Oreal True Match Foundation, in case you wanted something on the more affordable side as well. Number 4. The NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. Another cult classic. Where do I even begin with this? This was my holy grail for a really long time, probably 2 or 3 years, and I remember having to mix 2 different shades to get the perfect one for myself, which is why I ended up buying another one eventually once I had weaned off of this one. You've probably noticed that I have a really strong affinity for foundations that are on the dewy or natural side, but with that being said, because I have oily combination skin, I have to be mindful about the foundations I use. This foundation creates a luminous satin-like texture to the skin, and again, it's very weightless with sheer to medium coverage. Looking for a dupe? The Neutrogena Healthy Skin Liquid Makeup Foundation is said to be an affordable alternative and makes a great dupe. Number 5, the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. All my dry skin boys and girls, this one is for you. I first saw Patrick Ta and Liv Madorma using this, and we all know that they love their glowy, super hydrated skin, and honestly, this just looked like it glided so beautifully on the skin. So I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. The only thing I'll say is that their shade range is not the best, but if you find one that works for you, I would highly recommend it. Coverage is on the minimal side, but this feels like makeup meets skincare because essentially it's a face oil. If you're on the oily side, I wouldn't recommend it, but the reason why I tried it out was because my skin does go through phases of being dry. Yes, it's very temperamental. So when my skin's on the drier side, my skin just drank it up and it sat really well on my face. If you're looking for major coverage, obviously steer clear of this because it's not meant for that. But for me, when I'm on the dry side, there were no dry spots, no stickiness, and it didn't make me break out. Number 6, the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. Right. On the other end of the spectrum, in comparison to the Kosas Tinted Face Oil, we've got one specifically for all my ladies and gents who are more on the oily side and want a matte finish. Whenever I'm feeling on the oily side, and if I'm going somewhere that's particularly humid, then this is honestly perfect. The only thing I'll say is that it does oxidize quite a bit, so make sure to pick a shade or 2 lighter than what you normally would. So for me, I think my actual shade is 210, but then I went up to 180 because it oxidizes to what my skin tone actually is. In terms of coverage, it's very customizable considering its matte finish, and you can keep it at medium coverage or go super full coverage if you like. I haven't used this one in a while because I've left my matte foundation days behind me, but this was perfect for when I was still in that phase. Number 7, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. Another cult favorite, and for a good reason too. I started using this in university because I had run out of foundation and my friend had a bottle of this good stuff and I asked her if I could borrow some. That one occasion turned into me essentially taking a little bit from her basically every day because I was so impressed by how amazing it was. Like a small amount is enough for full face coverage and the results are so flawless. My only thing about it is that it doesn't have a pump, so you gotta be careful about pouring it out or you'll end up wasting it. But apart from that, this is a really solid foundation. Number 8, IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus Cream. This is my first exposure to CC creams actually, and it changed my perspective on it for sure. It's a full coverage foundation that's decked out with hydrating, anti-aging properties, and brightening color correcting pigments, and you got that SPF 50 in it as well. Their shade range is, if I'm being really honest, it's abysmal, but if you've been meaning to try a CC cream and if they've got your shade, then I would totally recommend it, especially if you're an oily skin or combination girl like moi. Number 9, the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. When I tell you that this was a difficult one to get my hands on, I wish I was joking. When this foundation released, I felt like everyone and their grandmas was so quick on it because the whole world was raving about how amazing it was. Miss Selena Gomez nailed the formula for sure. It's very lightweight on the skin and offers light coverage and looks incredibly flawless on the skin. My only thing, I guess, is that perhaps it might be a tad bit too dewy for me personally, but I think it's great if you're stepping out for an hour or 2 and need something super quick and you're not worried about getting that full coverage in. It doesn't look cakey on your face at all, and to avoid it settling into lines, I would recommend that you powder it down very well. And last but not least, the Too Faced Born This Way Foundation. If you're liking something more full coverage, then this is the one for you. I love Love, 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 love the concealer from this range. Within a few moments of applying, it becomes dry to the touch. It's non-greasy and super weightless as well. I think you guys can tell as well that there's this reoccurring theme between all of my foundations. I like them super weightless. I hate it when I can feel it on my skin. This foundation definitely feels like a second skin. I would recommend it for my people with normal to dry skin. And that's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed those recommendations. I'm looking forward to giving you guys more of them because I love talking about makeup and I love sharing with you guys what I've tried out and what's worked for me and what hasn't worked so that you guys don't end up wasting your time trying to find that. So hope you guys are staying safe and keeping well and being super happy, and I'll catch you guys in next week's episode. See ya!